Chapter 1 Princess Titania. It was a beautiful summer day within the Void Kingdom, and as the morning sun rose, Titania could feel the warmth of the sun's light on her skin. It filled with serenity as she basked on the sun's light through the window of her tower of her floating castle. Then she thought to herself, "What a beautiful day today! On days like these, there's nothing quite like sipping a nice cold glass of pink lemonade." As Titania was sipping on her pink lemonade, someone knocked on her door and asks, "Princess Titania, mind if I come in?" Titania then put down her lemonade and opened up the door to her nurse Draksus and says, "Sure thing." "Thanks, Princess. So, how's your summer been so far?" "It's been good. I sure am enjoying my time off from Professor Kitsune's lectures." "That's good to hear. His lectures can be a bit boring sometimes, let alone I don't understand what he's saying half the time. So, what brought you to my room out of all places?" "I just thought I'd spend a little time with my princess. I hope you don't mind that." "I don't mind at all. Besides, it gets pretty boring around here without Apollyon to entertain me with his antics and impersonations." Eudenthio then chuckled. "He really is a darling, isn't he? Say, why don't we go outside and take a hike outside the palace walls? It'd be good for your health to get some exercise and fresh air." "That doesn't sound like a bad idea. It sure beats doing nothing all day." Titania and Eudenthio then go downstairs to Eudenthio's living quarters to grab some things before going on their hike and to eat some ice cream. While on the hike through the forest near the palace, they could see anywhere else for miles. All they could see was the vast, lush wildlife untouched by man for hundreds of years, with the only sound being the rustling of leaves, chirping of birds, and the soothing sound of water. While on the top of the mountain ridge, Eudenthio stared into the distance and said to Titania, "It sure is beautiful from up here. Almost reminds me of the view from Queen Abigail's house in Sylvania Grove." Titania then asked, "What is it like in Sylvania Grove? Is it anything like my father's kingdom?" Eudenthio's facial expression then grows soft as she replies, "Quite different, actually. Things move slow in Sylvania Grove, and I still have trouble adjusting to my new fast-paced way of life in this kingdom. But despite my troubles, it's been a joy being your nurse and watching you grow these past 12 years. Titania then tilts her head and asks, "You mean that? I mean, what does a nurse of your lowly standing have in common with a princess such as myself? We both enjoy each other's company, don't we?" "I guess so. I really enjoy these pancakes you make for me every Sunday morning before you leave for the day. To be honest, you make a much better chef than most of the cooks in the royal kitchen." Eudenthio then smiles at Titania and says, "Thanks. I always cook my best for the best princess in the kingdom." "What about my two sisters?" "I still cook my best for them, although I find Lisa very unmannered. But who am I to judge someone else's character?" "Someone who's the nicest person I know." Eudenthio then hugs Titania and rubs Tania's feathered wings and says, "I'm glad you think of me that way. Say, how would you like it if I made you a nice meal when we get back?" Titania then gently holds Eudenthio's hand and answered, "I'd love that. Anything you make is sure to be delicious." "Then we'd better get headed back to the castle soon. I got quite the meal planned for you tonight." "But I don't want to go back to the castle yet. It's cold, damp, and makes me claustrophobic. Plus, there's hardly any nature to explore there." "I'll tell you what, Princess. How would I head back to the castle on my own while you still roam and explore nature?" "That sounds great. Just be sure to be back before dinner. You don't want to miss the epic meal I'm about to make for you to get cold, do you?" "Of course not. I'll be back by sundown." "And have fun and be safe. If you ever get lost, make 3 of anything and Artemis will come to find you." "Thanks. I'm sure to be safe. Bye. Titania then hugs Titania one more time before waving bye and returned to the castle. As Titania kept exploring the natural world outside the castle, the sky was getting darker. She was losing her way back to the castle, and she couldn't see more than 10 feet in front of her. Then she began to whimper as she heard the rustling of trees, the glowing sounds from the shadows, louder as she hid herself in a nymph grove. Meanwhile, in the castle, Titania was waiting in the dining room with a meal fully prepared for Titania, but it was getting cold. Titania then looked at the clock and thought to herself, "Where is Titania? She should be back already, and she never misses dessert. Now I'm starting to get worried. I should get a hold of Artemis as soon as possible." Titania then hustles to Artemis's quarters and frantically says, "I need your help, Artemis. Titania's gone missing." Artemis immediately stops what she's doing and coldly stares into Titania's eyes and asks, "Are you serious?" "Yes, I'm serious. Azrael's going to kill me if he finds out I let her play by herself in the woods." "Then I will find her right away." Then Artemis strips her dress off as fast as she could and puts on her hunting equipment in search of Titania. Then she sprints out the door and glides over the forest below. As she glides over the forest, she toggles her eyesight from color to infrared and quickly finds Titania surrounded by a pack of wolves. Then as Artemis lands, she loads her pistol and shoots all the wolves surrounding Titania without missing a single shot, while holding Titania in her arms. Then Artemis asked Titania, "Are you hurt?" Titania then limped as she got up and answered, "Just a few scrapes here and there. Nothing a little love magic can't fix." "Then I'll take you back to the castle immediately. It's not safe for you out here." Artemis then takes Titania back to the palace as Titania falls on one knee, clasping Artemis's hands with both of hers while saying, "Thank you. Thank you so much. I owe so much to you right now." Artemis then lifted Titania off her knee and put her hand on her shoulder and said, "You don't need to thank me. We're friends, remember?" Titania then looked down. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend." "Don't worry about it. I'm always ready to help a good sister if she needs me." "Thank you so much. You're the kindest person I know." "Of course you'd say that. And if you were in trouble, I'd come to your aid just as fast." Titania then wipes the sweat off her forehead and says, "Thanks, but can you promise me one thing?" "Of course." "Can you please not tell Azrael about this? I don't want him to get the wrong idea." "Then I won't tell him. Now go rest your worried little head and have a good night." Titania then takes Titania to her tower and heals her with her love magic before finally going to bed herself.